Hello everyone, how you doing? I hope you're well. So today I'm going to look at information messages for the month of August 2023. So this morning I drew a card off camera, and for this month I selected the oracle deck called The Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. And the actual card is called In Perfect Harmony. It's interesting because when I looked first at the card and the title, I thought I read In Perfect Symphony, which makes sense because we can see all these musical notes on the card. But interesting, the symphony of life, trying to find that balance. And one of the first messages I heard from the card was some of us may not be tuned to ourselves. And August is the perfect time um, to take some time out for review and reflection. And of course, it's going to be very different from one person to another. But I feel especially if you've been on a path and you feel that you've gone off track a bit because maybe you've been concentrating too much on one aspect of your life, maybe it's time for you to, how can I put it, to see how far you have come. So, of course, it could be this year, it could be several years back. You're going to obviously resonate with the message differently. As I said, it's going to be different from one person to another. But I feel the energies have been quite challenging and chaotic for the past few weeks, especially the energies running up to Tuesdays, full moon in Aquarius. I've now recording the video 2 days after the full moon, and the energies are feeling a bit lighter. But it's definitely a time to rebalance, a time to reevaluate, and a time to be tuned into yourself, okay? And just find that balance. If, like I've done before, we look at the astrology, which is fascinating, during the month of August, I can see there are already 4 planets in retrograde, one of them being Mercury. And I could see that later on during the month, another 2 will be in retrograde. So we're talking about 6 planets in retrograde. So if you feel it's a time really to take a break, to take some time out and reflect and review, August is the month to do it. Now, I'm going to draw a few tarot cards and ask you for any further information. So this month I selected the Light Seers Tarot. So let's see what Spirit wants to share with us regarding this month. We feel the world is not stagnant, but where the energies are definitely slowing down. And with so many planets in retrograde, maybe it's a time for us to reevaluate, reassess many things in our lives. So sometimes these times where we need to slow down and we need some time out, they are needed for us to move forward again in a better place. So let's see, 3 cards, please, for the month of August. Okay, one more shuffle. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. such a positive message. And I know for some of you, you are going through clearly through a challenging phase in your life. The first card is the Three of Swords. In this tarot deck, as you can see, the picture is quite something, actually, quite graphic. You see this woman so overwhelmed. She feels like shouting, screaming, maybe crying, and the heart, the broken heart. Um, the Three of Swords is very much that heartbreak, is about emotional pain, it's about sorrow, it's about deep hurt, grief. But there is a positive message out of this card. It's a time where you've got the opportunity to heal. And I feel the message could be for everyone, anyone out there who feels that some shadow work, some patterns, some emotional wounding, resurfaced to be healed. And as I mentioned on my spiritual page on Facebook, Mystic Dragonfly Whispers this week, healing is not a competition, it's not a race, it's not a time to compare yourself with others. You will feel when the time is right, when you will sense healing, releasing needs to take place. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about self-care. It's about nurturing. It's about being compassionate towards yourself as well. So I feel for some of us, yes, you may be going through a very challenging phase, dealing from dealing dealing with very deep emotional wounds, maybe. And it's difficult, of course, it's difficult. It's all about experiencing those emotions. Like shown on this card, it's not a time to suppress your emotions. It's a time, if you feel like screaming, shouting, or even crying, this is the time to do it. And it's interesting. I know quite often when we are in a phase where we feel very overwhelmed because of so much emotions brought in the surface, caused by an event, of course, most of the time in your life, emotional pain, sorrow, grief, hurt, etc. Of course, it's hard to hear kind of wisdom, I would say, regarding this phase, and we can't see it. This is the truth. You're in the middle of it. You feel so overwhelmed that it's difficult sometimes to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But Spirit just reminded me that pain, sorrow, and grief, they're all necessary parts of life. They are basically there to help us to grow and develop as a person. And I know, as I just mentioned, it's very hard when you're in the middle of it. It's only later on that you can look back and realize that those kind of events, although they're hard to go through, they're also blessing in disguise for us to grow and evolve and develop as a human being. So it's just a reminder of this. Of course, going back to this, the healing taking place doesn't have to be for such extreme emotions. Of course, it can be as well deep wounding that can go back many years ago. And for some of us, maybe we've gone through already some healing. But as you know, they don't heal instantly most of the time. I always use the analogy of going through the layers of an onion. This is a good description of different healing phases when we go through deep traumatic, deep traumatic emotions, especially. But let's face it, generally, I think for the month of August, we have the opportunity to go through a phase of healing from, let's say, patterns that no longer serve us to very much deep shadow healing. So it's just a reminder. But I know for some of you, it's a very difficult time. And take it easy. This is very much a month of, I would feel, self-care and nurturing if you are in this situation. Take one step at a time, and eventually you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, the second card is very much a card related to an action to take place. So, as I just mentioned, August may be a month where healing is going to take place, releasing of all patterns or situations in your life that no longer serves you. And then it's time with the Four of Pentacles to kind of build maybe a new foundation in your life. And what I mean by that, if we go back to the number 4, it's very much about the physical aspect of your life, like built on solid and sound foundation. So it could be, of course, a new life, a new chapter in your life. But it's very much also based on beliefs, on values, unconditional love, passion, you name it. So after doing the clearing and healing, you'll get clarity where you're going to head to or where you're heading to, and you feel it's time to build a sound and solid foundation, brick by brick, for your future. And I feel there is a stance, of course, a need of stability in your life. There are the two messages as well, which is a kind of advice, I would say. With the Four of Pentacles, we are also invited to look at our relationship with money and possessions. Look at her. She's got her purse, very tight against her chest here, looking down, looking maybe not fearful, but a bit worried and she's holding on maybe too tight to maybe money, to material. And there is, yes, a kind of warning there. Don't hold on too tight to money and material. You don't want this aspect of your life taking over in an extreme way, I would say. This is one of them. Now, more related to the Three of Swords. Obviously, some of you will go through a very emotional, deep emotional phase in your life. And I feel with the Four of Cups, and going back to the information I just shared about clinging on too much or too tight on money and material is not a good thing. Well, in situation where you are going through a very emotional phase in your life, sometimes that may cause you to cling to possessions and money and material as a mean of maybe coping with such emotional pain in your life. So this is another aspect to look at if you are going through this. This is a kind of recommendation. And as well with the Four of Pentacles, there is an aspect related to change and saying that basically don't resist change. This is part of life. This is change is constant. So don't think twice about it. Remember, you're doing all this work of healing and releasing and come a point where it's time for you to build that sound and solid foundation for your future. Don't sabotage it. Just embrace change. At the end of the day, it's about all connecting with your intuition and following your heart. And it's interesting because this is a kind of nice transition to the third card, which is the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is one of the most positive cards in the tarot deck. So, Ten of Cups is about happiness, it's about divine love, it's about harmony, it's about alignment, it's about happy family. Look, they look so happy. Couple watching the kids playing. All these cups which represents emotional abundance in your life. You have, beautiful, harmonious, positive, loving relationship with your family and your close friends. And there is an aspect as well with the Ten of Cups, maybe of commitment. Commitment in the sense that maybe before, when you were in that place, um, feeling confused, overwhelmed, going through a challenging phase, you couldn't see maybe a relationship going further. But now, healing and releasing has taken place. You can commit to a relationship. So we're talking about engagement. It could be a marriage. It could be starting a new family, let's say. And there is as well a beautiful message with the Ten of Cups. It's all about, as I just mentioned with the Four of Cups, embracing change and following your heart and trusting your intuition. That basically is going to lead you to opportunities which are aligned with your highest good. So this reading is just beautiful. Look at those two cards, different energies, very much so. But I feel for the month of August, if you are feeling tired, if you are going through especially a very challenging phase on an emotional level, and you have to go through, the heartbreak, the hurt, the sorrow, the grief as well sometimes, it's definitely a time out is needed to heal, to release, maybe to reflect, to review what you've achieved so far during a specific period of time. But more importantly, I feel this is a month of self-care, of nurturing, of being compassionate towards yourself. Remember, healing is not a competition. You need to take the time, you need to go through this challenging phase in your life. But the future will eventually be bright. You will see the light at the end of the tunnel. And what I mean by that, where clarity will give you the strength, the courage to start a new phase in your life, building a new sound and solid foundation, brick by brick, that will bring you happiness, joy, harmony in your life, generally with your family, your friends, and will bring the right opportunities for you to Move forward on your path closer to your soul purpose. And I would say as well, those opportunities will be aligned to your highest good. So if you are going through a tough phase, hang in there. You'll be fine. But first, obviously, you need to concentrate on self to get better emotionally, physically, mentally, and then start building the new foundation for the new chapter in your life. So that's it for this month. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and sharing. And if you have not already, subscribe to the channel to receive future notifications on my new videos. And if you would like to get a personal intuitive reading, please check my website. You'll find the link down below in the description box. So until next time, take care of yourself and bye for now.